There's a fog that settles over the mind. Sometimes it's subtle, barely noticeable. Other times it's suffocating. It's heavy, it's unrelenting. It's that constant hum in the background. It's a restless pulse of worry, overthinking, and never truly feeling here. And the worst part is most people don't even realize how loud their anxiety has become because it's been the background noise of their lives for so long, they've normalized it. They've adapted to tension, they've adjusted to chaos, they've gotten comfortable in confusion, but just because the fog feels familiar doesn't mean it's supposed to be home. And that's what we're going to talk about here on the Fire Iron Mindset. This message is for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by life's chaos, stuck in cycles of overthinking, or desperate to find clarity, real, lasting clarity. Now, if that's you, this message might be the message that changes your entire direction. So before we go deeper, I need you to do two things. Subscribe if you are ready to sharpen your mind, and share this with someone you care about because mental clarity isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, and it might just save someone's life. Let's start with the truth. What is anxiety, really? It's not just fear, and it's not just stress. It's the anticipation of future pain, emotional, physical pain, rational, or financial. It's the brain's way of trying to protect you from what might happen. But in doing so, it drags you away from what is happening. It's like holding an umbrella in the sunshine because you're so sure the storm is coming, but storms don't always come. And even if they do, you'll be stronger than you thought. Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher, said, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. And if you are at peace, you are living in the present. But how do you return to the present when your thoughts are racing at the speed of fear? How do you drop the weight when it's been on your back for years? That's where we go next. I'm going to give you 5 ancient yet practical principles that will help you cut through the noise, clear the fog, and come home to yourself. So number 1, clarity begins with stillness. You can't clean muddy water by shaking it. The only way to see clearly is to become still. Not busy, not distracted, not numbed out by endless scrolling, but still. That's why the Bible says in Psalm chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still and know that I am God." Stillness is not passivity. It's power. It's strength under restraint. It's wisdom in silence. In fact, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Everybody wants to appear wise and intelligent and smart. Why do you want to be content to be thought foolish and stupid? Because clarity doesn't begin with performance, it begins with humility. Even 5 minutes a day of stillness, breathing, observing, being can shift your entire state. Because when you're still, you hear your soul again. And more importantly, you begin to hear God again. Number 2, your breath is your anchor. This isn't just philosophy, it's biology. When anxiety strikes, your breathing becomes shallow. You enter fight or flight. Your body thinks you're in danger, even if it's just from an email or a thought or a memory. But when you slow your breath, you slow your thoughts. You speak to your nervous system and say, I am safe, I am present, I am okay. Try this daily. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. Repeat 5 times, and you will almost instantly feel the shift. Your breath is a built-in weapon. Use it wisely. Number 3, journal the noise out. Seneca, the great Stoic, once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Journaling helps separate those two because you can't fight shadows with a sword. You need light, and that's what journaling is. It's light. It takes your tangled thoughts and puts them on paper, and it gives them a shape, a face, and a name. Write down your worries. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What's the worst that could happen? What would I do if it did? See, often the fear isn't as powerful as the unknown, and journaling doesn't just help you express, it helps you extract truth from distortion. It's therapy with ink, and it works. Number 4, reduce inputs, increase intention. You cannot expect a clear mind if your environment is constantly chaotic. Most people don't need more time. They need fewer distractions. And most people don't need more information. They need more discernment. Confucius once said, "He who chases 2 rabbits catches neither." You cannot chase clarity and consume chaos at the same time. So you got to ask yourself, what's feeding my peace? What's stealing my stillness? Start deleting, start unfollowing, mute out the noise, log off, clean house mentally, emotionally, and make room for what matters. And number 5, surrender the illusion of control. Surrender the illusion of control. Control is the greatest source of anxiety for a lot of people. We think we can control the outcomes, the timelines, the relationships, the opportunities. We can't. We simply can't. You like to think you can, but you can't. And the more we try, the tighter we grip. And the tighter we grip, the more peace slips through our fingers. And here's the truth. You can't force fruit to grow faster by yelling at the tree or the plant. That's not faith. That's fear disguised as effort. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 3:5-6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Pretty self-explanatory. That isn't spiritual fluff. And whether you believe in God or the Bible or not, it is still wisdom. It's a roadmap. Surrender is not giving up, it's giving over to something wiser, to someone higher. Some might call it the universe, some call it God, the divine. There are many names attached to whatever created us in the beginning. So let go, not because you're weak, but because peace lives where control dies. So you might be asking, well, where do you go from here? Well, you shift. Not by force, not by fear, but by awareness. See, the ancient Stoics taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions we form about things. Epictetus taught us it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's power. That's clarity, because clarity is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of perspective. When you begin to shift from reaction to response, you become the calm in the storm instead of being swallowed by it. This isn't just mental hygiene, it's spiritual warfare, and you better believe it is a real thing. Because anxiety wants you to spiral out of control, into a tailspin until you crash. It wants you to live in an endless loop over and over again, like the movie Groundhog's Day. It wants you to believe that peace is for other people and not for you. But clarity begins when you reclaim authority over your thoughts, when you say, I am not my fear. I am not my worst case scenario. I am not the what ifs. You are not powerless. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are aware. And awareness is the beginning of transformation. But let's go deeper into this, because this isn't just a productivity hack. This is soul preservation. Your mind is the most sacred place, and most people treat it like a garbage dump, letting in every voice, every notification, every opinion without filtering any of it. But clarity requires boundaries. There's a Chinese proverb that I learned that says, tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. You can't hear God. You can't hear your soul, and you can't hear your purpose if you're drowning in noise. Pretty self-explanatory. So here's a practical challenge. For 1 week, delete one app. Turn off the notification. Go on a walk without your phone. Create space, because peace doesn't scream, it whispers. And you have to silence the world long enough to hear it. Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. But how can we examine our lives when we are constantly examining everyone else's? Delete TikTok, delete Facebook, delete Instagram. Delete anything that makes you feel like you're missing out or like you're missing something. You're not missing anything. And you weren't meant to consume 24/7, 365. You were made to create, to reflect, to connect. So limit your inputs, curate your environment, and choose what deserves your attention, because not everything does. So now I'll ask you again. Are you reacting or responding? Are you letting your anxiety be the default in your life, or are you choosing clarity as your design? Because clarity is a practice, it's a mindset, and it's a spiritual path. Isaiah 26 verse 3 says, you will keep in perfect peace those whose mind are steadfast because they trust in you. Peace is not passive, it's intentional. And if this message sparks something in you, if it stirred the waters of your soul and whispered to your spirit, then don't let it end here. Do 3 things right now. Subscribe, not just to the channel, but to a lifestyle of awareness, peace, and strength, hit the notification bell. Because this is just the beginning. We're building something real here, a movement of clarity in a culture of chaos. And the third thing I want you to do is, not for the numbers, but for the lives. Someone you know is barely holding on right now. And you know better than me who that someone is. And one message, one video might be their shift, be that lifeline. Share this video. This is the Fire Iron Mindset, where we sharpen minds, temper souls, and forge unshakable clarity from the fire of life. So take a breath, write it down, let go, and step boldly into a new mindset, because the fog is not forever, but your peace can be. And it starts right here, right now.